I thought you said Drummond.
Hi!
Hi!
Don't make fun of me.
Diamond, did you level up?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, baby.
Take to go
I spent our point Paladin.
Paladin.
Yeah, I want my I want to get that level 8, 20 strength as fast as possible.
Oh, nice. I took warrior.
Yeah, boy.
I got another spell slot, another third or second level spell slot. So, you know, that's before smite.
Nice.
True.
Yeah,
Yeah, my next level, I kind of want to get more stats, so my wisdom isn't negative anymore. But at the same time, I want a feat.
Yeah, I gotta up a.
Some of them will give you both block.
I gotta up a stat to
Like-
1 point, one freaking to get defeat.
Yeah, some of those feats will do that. They'll like you can get like a certain feats will like grant 1 point of whatever and then give you some of their ability.
Yeah,
Yeah, but like I want to get Warcaster, or, like Spell Sniper.
yeah. That,
Okay. Spell sniper.
Because seeing how we're not in the Underdark, Spell Sniper might actually see some use.
Yeah. Possible.
Snipe somebody from 300 feet away with a
You
ray
can
of.
certainly try.
All right, so quick recap of what happened last week. Quite a lot. So you got intel from Ritosk's future wifey.
baby mama.
That Drow had been asking for you in the city, and his repayment for assisting in bringing. What the hell's his name? I can't remember now.
Sildar.
No,
No.
Who?
Other guy.
the stupid little Darrow guy.
The
Droki.
mad Droki.
For bringing Droki in, she was willing to trade that information as well as safe passage out of the city for services rendered. In doing so, Ritosk bade farewell to the group, having no interest in chasing down blood debts he had nothing to do with, and chose to stay for the time being in Gracklestook to try and woo his beloved of his own. You made your way to a cave in the Underdark and quickly dispatched the remaining members of the Drow party that had captured you, attacked your city, and enslaved you. But before you're able to strike the final killing blow on Ilvara, she sacrificed herself in an attempt to bring the patron of the Drow, the patron of the Drow, Lolth, through the veil. And she succeeded, and as you were facing down a foe far greater than you could hope to vanquish at this point in your adventure, the stone from Stone Speaker Grom began to vibrate and warm, and you received one telepathic message, connect. And in your moment of terror, everybody grasped hands, and Vortar focused on the crystal, and it teleported you to the flying magic tower castle of one Zifros, a slightly insane storm giant who has offered to ferry you back to Phandelver. And as you sit around your dinner meal, a relatively small figure steps out of the shadows to introduce themselves. Psst, that's
Wait, is that
Yuridai.
me? What?
Yes.
Wait,
I know you're gonna. Oh, okay.
Is this stream? Oh, really loud.
What's really loud?
The music, is the stream still paused? Or maybe my music goes all the way up? For whatever reason.
Music might be up on your side just because we're in a new game.
It is. It was fucking up in the club
Yeah,
getting
it
tipsy.
Where is this? Oh, there it is. I see it.
It's okay. Way to let me know, Ben. All right. As the hooded figure came forth, it was small, roughly 4'3", 4'4" in size, and a very lithe body, even with the hooded figure that it was. It was holding a giant tome, probably not actually for himself, but actually for your host that he was borrowing from this slightly insane stone giant. Over just the hood of the book, you could see two piercing blue eyes staring at you, and an aura radiating from the small figure that only could be taken as he missed dinner. And he walks forward, shuffling with tall, small steps, and as he grows closer to the group, you can notice that this is either not a halfling, but actually a child in physical form, at least, as you can tell currently. And he comes forward, and with a small, quivering voice, he asks, I missed dinner, and I'm sorry. I don't want to get in your way, but could I have one plate, please? Maybe.
Porto will look over at this broodling that has come to the table, and then he will fucking reach on. He will nod gravely. It is important to eat. Glory comes to those who are not fed, and they shall fail at taking it. And I'll reach over and grab a hunk of whatever I can find that is not vegetables and put it in front of the child.
Help
I
yourself.
mean, glory comes to those who
whatever.
are fed.
Wait, did you just throw that, Mortar?
Yes. Well, not throw it, but like I chunked it down in front of him.
As the food literally slaps down in front of him in the table, the book goes flying, and the child goes sprawling back onto his, well, behind, scrambling backwards slightly, and you can see the very fine features of a very young high elf.
Oh, this will be good.
Oh. Mortar will like stand up and be like, "What is the meaning of this?"
I don't know what you're talking about. I just want dinner.
Look, Red. He has pointy ears.
Vortar can see this, and Vortar, and he will sniff.
At this point, like,
It's got
Avalia,
He does. He smells of something delicious that one has never eaten.
Vortar!
Vagina.
Vortar!
knows that this can only be a dirty fey.
Vortar, I have pointed ears too. Leave the boy alone.
Quick, grab his book before he spreads his lies around to you.
Love it speaks for this thing.
It's a child! It's a child!
Vashenka, why must you lay these tests before your servant?
Vortar, let him eat.
Yes.
Radai would be practically on the verge of tears as he has the hood, like, pulled down around his ears, trying to hide them as if it was going to change anything. However, he had them pulled so tightly that the ears were just protruding out from underneath his hood like little horns.
You don't have to cry.
He said he wanted to eat me!
Well, that is Vortar. He does do that.
Even I missed that shit, bitch.
Oh, you guys, just
Both them.
Yes, Vortar would gladly trade 9 of these fey children for just 1 of the shit vegetables.
and at this, the scene kind of changes, and it gets dark, and then it brightens up a little bit, and you see Ritosk and Stool sitting in, like, the office of the Dwargar. You don't hear anything, and then it fades back to you guys.
look
Yes.
there. You got an
Played for a
image.
fool.
Ah, he has found his way to the Hin. Good for Stool. May he mark the Hin's territory well as he did for us.
May he mount many shrooms.
And he mount many and dirt midgets.
So, child, why don't you stand up, sit down, eat, tell us your name?
Yeah.
Redeye would push himself up to his feet and kind of dust himself off, and then slowly, cautiously, as if like when approaching a dog you don't know, comes to the table very aware of Vortar, and then picks up, let's just say a turkey leg, because I'm just going to say that's something Vortar would throw at him. Picks up the turkey leg with almost quivering hands, never taking his eyes off of Vortar at all, and just lifts it off the table and very quickly slides to the right next to Cortan.
Watch out,
Or
boy. If you
left.
stare long enough, he'll eat your soul. Don't stare
We're
too
not
much at the red. If
at
he
random.
sweats at you, oh, better watch it. You better run. He's just gonna put his arm
So at
around
this,
the
like,
kid.
Sildar looks over at you and he says, to you, Corten, he says, "You've changed. I don't like it."
Yeah,
Kind
he's
of
a
gives a
cop
look
now.
over, and gives a smile. He's like, "Yeah, for the better. Come here, little kid. Let's talk."
We're
You
not
leave-
adopting
Need
him.
an adult!
You leave the child alone.
We're not. We're
that
not
was-
adopting Amalia. It's not
Um,
happening. Get that
and-
out of
We're not what?
here. Adopting him.
Sildar
Get it out of your
Sildar
head.
looks across
I know where
the
this is going.
Sildar looks across the table at Redeye and he says, "Come, boy, sit by me."
No, he's okay. He's okay. He's okay. He's gonna like put his stiff
Cortan,
around the
let
shoulder. What?
go of the child.
Look, listen.
Let-
I'm
no.
always looking after.
No.
What's your name again, kiddo? Yeah. Okay. He's fine next to me. Okay. Leave him alone. Yeah. that's okay.
The child can speak for itself, Cortan.
That's right. He said his name's and so
I would like to go sit by the other guy, please.
Leave him be.
gotta push him off. Talk to bearded son of a bitch over here.
Redeye would grab the
For
food
us,
and
he'd
literally
be
just
like-
crawl under the table to the other side of the Sildar.
For us, you'd be spider food right now, buddy. I'm just saying. Whatever. Not letting you have one.
All of a sudden, he turns into like a valley girl. Whatever.
Like Tole.
Don't
Like,
let me have
oh
mine.
my gosh.
Vortar, eat the kid. I mean, what? No! Vortar cannot eat this child, or he shall be cursed with the dirty face flesh curse, which causes the watery stool in all orcs who should consume it. You got me there. Plus,
Uh,
beloved has forbidden it.
yeah. So Sildar turns to Redeye and says, he says, "No need to worry, small one. We will protect you."
Apparently, we will be.
Redeye sniffles slightly as like, thank you.
Vortar is gonna look over at Sildar and be like, "Ah! It is good to see you up and about again, Sildar. Vortar was afeared that you would be forever traumatized into a weeping pile of mushy shit after having been tortured by the Negro Fae for so long. And though it appears to have taken a toll upon your appearance, which is now ruggedly handsome and mature."
Yeah, Sue just kind of laughs. It'd take more than a few drow to end this old man's life.
Yes,
Spider Queen.
this
Cortan.
Vortar will thump the table. Then he will like look over at the beloved, and he'll say, "Do we have to? Can it eat the vegetables? We don't need the vegetables anyway."
You don't need to eat the vegetables.
No, good. This is good. Vortar will eat all the meat.
That's fine.
Like a kid holding his plate out to his mom. "Can I be done?"
Only eat the red stuff.
Redeye will take a healthy helping of vegetables and be like, it's okay, I actually really like vegetables.
He throws up on his plate and then continues to eat it again.
Such is the way of the Fae.
If you look at him in the eyes, he'll get fake cancer.
What?
What? I didn't say that. What? It's some kind of fate thing. I don't know. Vortar told me.
We really need to work on your personality, Cortan.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So the evening goes much like it has been. Maybe there's some, you find Cortan over in the corner talking to himself or with Vortar or staring dirty looks across the room at whoever catches his eye.
Standing in the corner weeping.
Cortan is just over in the corner ripping the wings off of flies or some morbid shit.
He somehow found it. Yeah.
Smile, he gives you one of those creepy ass extra smiles. Like a fucking reptilian man wearing a fucking human skin.
Hey, do you have a +1 trench coat in your inventory? Goddamn edgelord.
No, that would have been another core. I think we're burning. So it's
But the evening goes without occurrence. You see through the windows that are about 15 feet off the ground that the sky begins to darken, and you don't hear or see Zephyros again that night. So as the sky darkens, what you do see though is that the table, all the food that hasn't been eaten, vanishes, and around the room.
I didn't finish. I was gonna go for thirds.
Oh, well, guess what? You're done now.
Sorcery.
I bet you're
Maybe
a little kid, Vortar. Stop being trickery.
It was those little things like Dobby from Harry Potter. I mean, what's Harry Potter?
I heard it in a book.
Yo, if Lot played Dobby, I'd lose my fucking shit.
Oh my god.
Dobby has gotten a sock! Dobby is free!
Oh my god. Sorry.
Oh, what the? Okay.
Stool!
Yeah, as the food disappears, bedrolls begin to appear throughout the room.
You know, if I didn't know any better, I'd say we were being watched.
Or someone's just telling us to go to bed.
I don't want to.
Actually, the entire tower is automized with like magical servants that help guests with food and sleeping and okay.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing that. That's
Great,
good
yeah,
to know.
Great, yeah, great.
Cortan, shut up!
How many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good! This is good because Vortar did not want to share a bedroll with Sildar.
With that, he chuckles and he says, "Oh, come on now."
Nay, apeling! Whilst you may have a rugged, handsome appeal to those of your own ilk, Vortar fears that he would break your hips. Now climb into this. What is this? Bed. Well, okay,
Bedroll?
and then he will fucking like lay down on it. It's soft.
Yeah, you missed that half orc he had. He misses her still, don't you? But
Yes, 9 times a day I miss her.
there you go, see. You're gonna have to go get her.
Drop and just pick them all up and carry them.
Wait! And Vortar will stand up, look around, and be like, "Where's the pooping pit?"
No! No!
Where is it?
No!
Vortar, here's what you
No.
do. You go outside,
No.
you stick your ass right on the edge of the clouds, and you just balls.
Yes!
It's automated.
Yes!
Self-cleaning.
Vortar will poop from the skies!
Well, none of this is good.
You're
Not at all.
everybody, entertain me.
So you're gonna go watch him take a shit?
No. I'm sleeping.
Yeah, he is. Apparently, it's what gets him off.
That's his kink, huh?
Right.
Vortar will go to the edge of the cloud and
and then he shall hang his ass off of it, and he shall pray to Vashenka that they be over the elven lands, and then he shall drop the angriest brown turd that one has e'er seen, and it shall fall from on high to descend upon those unsuspecting fae below who have seen fit to fucking inflict us with their broodlings.
So Vortar, you do realize I'm from Feyland, right?
Sorry, beloved, I missed that. I was too busy watching the turd go. Listen,
Flat.
We spell it Riadai, right? Or state Riadai.
Radai.
Riadai.
Bidet.
Riadai.
Bidet.
Riadai.
having
Yes.
completed Vashenka's blessing of the
After
elven
completing
lands
the bomb run.
died, Portal will return.
Well, you'll just look at him. Take it, Riadai.
So how'd the raid go?
Ah, may the elven queen have been looking up and had her mouth open when that happened.
Atta boy. Court's gonna clap.
What did you
Atta
wipe
boy.
with?
What?
Radai's gonna go down and like take this
Cloud.
bedroll and then just drag it up by Sildar.
One
Driving.
does not wipe when one needs to mark one's territory without a
Drummond?
convenient post.
You've been traveling with him for how long and you still don't know that he doesn't wipe?
I can
He doesn't
dream.
have stool.
I can dream.
Don't dream. You'll be sadly disappointed.
Riadai, you'll tell us more about you tomorrow during breakfast.
Yes! The beloved has ordered it! You shall comply! You shall
Both
tell
are
us
great
more
with
about
children.
yourself over breakfast!
Radai's just gonna like take the furs and just like wrap it over his head, like, you know, you guys ever watch the old like Garfield cartoons where he like wraps himself
Yes.
in a little, yeah, basically that.
Eating a pan of lasagna.
Sildar, be like, Sildar, protect me. The bad red man, he comes for me.
All right, and as you all lay down, once you've all settled, the magic orbs around the room that are producing the light slowly dim to the point where it's just very dim light, enough to see if you need to, but not bright enough to keep you awake. And the night goes without much occurrence. But one thing does happen. Avalia, you wake up early, yes?
Yeah.
I do as well. I have a trance.
Oh, that's right.
4 hours, baby.
Why did she wake up early? Do I wake up early? Is that true?
She set a druid alarm for something.
Oh, I didn't know if it was a half-elf trait I had missed.
No.
It's been a while since I've looked.
Woman casts her measuring glance wildly about the room.
So while you're sleeping, Vortar, what does Vortar's dreams normally look like?
Well, depends. If I'm accursed, it could be an unable to move, and my brain is mostly in a vegetable state. It mostly resembles a semi-naked Stevie Nicks spinning in a circle wildly while wearing only a gypsy scarf. Occasionally, when I have a nightmare, I'm attacked by fucking armies of fucking like mutant vegetable fae riding unicorns. Pleasant dreams generally involve the mounting of many and varied things.
So you're having a relatively pleasant dream, but you notice, like, off to the side of the bed, there's a ball of yarn,
Oh, you should have said it's gonna
A ball of yarn
and
in a dream or in real?
in a dream,
Okay.
and you can't help but want to play with that ball of yarn.
What the fuck is a ball
ball of yarn. What is this thing? Vortar will pick up the ball of yarn, then he will bite it, then he will smell it. He'll measure its circumference in comparison to his scrotum. What secrets does this ball of yarn contain?
All right, so you all wake up, and as you look around, curled up on the pillow where Vortar was sleeping, you now see a little red kitten laying there.
What the shit?
And as you think that, Vortar, when you wake up, like, you think, what the shit? Because you're like, you wake up and you immediately have this urge to like start like licking your hand.
Is it covered in bacon? Because that would make sense.
It's actually covered in red fur.
What the shit?
And all of a sudden, as you guys are waking up, you look over and you see this red kitten, and it's just meowing loudly.
Is this you, little kid? Did you do this to him? Because this is the irony. This is too funny.
What fucking manner of
Meow meow. Meow meow meow.
Yeah.
assholery is this?
Yeah, so as you're asking and looking around, they're all looking at you. They all seem much larger than you remember them. You're used to towering over them, looking down on them. And now it looks like you're about knee height.
That's a big fucking kitten.
That is a big bug kitten, actually.
It's a goddamn. That's like a fucking lion kitten. Vortar is going to fucking sit. He's gonna stand up.
You go to stand up and you kind of lose your balance and fall over backwards.
What the shit? No, try it again.
Same thing.
Is the talisman of evil ball of yarn somewhere?
No.
Explain this to
But
me.
but you see the legs of the table, and you just get this urge to sink your claws into it.
Okay, I can sort of appreciate that. I'll do that. It seems I'm a creature of instinct. This is what I do. I will rush forth, charging gloriously at the table leg, and then I shall rear her up, and I shall slash it twice recklessly and bite it.
Yeah, so you guys look, and the cat runs across the ground and starts recklessly clawing at the table. It's doing no damage, but it's just over there.
So for real, though, who did this?
The guy's just gonna.
I don't know, kid. Did you do this?
No, I know how to, but no, I did.
Why not?
It might
You want
be
brownie points. Do this.
It might.
Listen, considering what I've been doing lately, would I really want to turn one of you people into a kid? I'd turn
I
you
don't
into
know what you want. You're a dick now.
I'd turn into like a one-eyed ball of ooze or something like that. Something I find funny. I can't do this. I wouldn't do this.
It might have been me. I think I got a new power.
I mean, at least he's cuter now.
What?
Having completed attacking this table leg to some great degree of fury, I will then mark my territory.
Someone explain.
I-
What
I
did you
told
say?
you, over the
And
clouds,
then I
man.
will look around the room and try to walk. I'm gonna walk over towards Avalia because I'm relatively certain that this had to have come directly from Vashenka.
So you should be able to move your token.
It was punishment for having even asked if I had to eat the vegetables.
This is what he gets for shitting on elven lands.
This must be the
Face
curse of the
looking
Fae.
all over it.
Yep.
Can you move the token there, Vortar? Or Furtar?
I only see black.
Oh man.
Everything looks different, Ben.
What about now?
It's still black.
Did
Zoom
you
out.
try to move?
It's a small black square. It's a giant black square. Oh, there. Okay. I can see Yes, thank you.
Can you see now?
Yes, I can see now.
Can you move it?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Vortar's gonna walk over to Avalia, and he's gonna say, Beloved! Beloved, you must intercede with Vashenka on Vortar's behalf!
Oh, poor Dar. And she's gonna pick him up and cradle him in her arms and pet and scratch him behind his ear.
This is...
You love it.
It's oddly
You love it.
never before has Vortar ever even attempted to scratch his ears before. Unless there was too much goat scrub in them.
You said that you might have done this. Do you want to explain this?
Explain.
I might have. I got a new power, and I woke up and I was just messing around, and all of a sudden, I didn't know it hit anybody, and
Thank God you didn't do teardrop. I mean, come on now. Can you imagine if you woke up with like big locks and a big whiskey ass face? Oh, man.
What?
Bad enough. Nothing. I actually try to picture you as a damn cat. I just pictured this big mane of you. You were a
Look
cat.
up Maine Coon.
Yeah, sure.
That'd be fucking glorious.
yeah, they're big cats.
Yeah, you know what? Why don't you give it another try then, Valia?
Why don't you jump out the front door?
You know, we can hold hands. Come with me. Come on, bud.
Yeah, well, I'll do it, and I'll Misty step right back and then you die.
No, you won't. No, you won't.
Enough.
You have to see that, my buddy.
Do you continue concentrating, Avoya? Or do you let the spell end?
Well, first I'm gonna put him down. Back
Damn.
On the ground.
Damn. So close.
I know, right?
And then she's gonna hand him over to Cortan. Here, Cortan, hold.
I don't want it.
Yes. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
No, I don't want it. The thing has fur.
Kitty cat, go get him. Go get him.
Vortar will go, yes, beloved!
God.
And then he will scrunch down and fucking rock back and forth, and his fucking eyes will dilate to the size of fucking saucers, and his tail will
I'm
wiggle.
gonna get an Eldritch
and
Blast
he will
ready.
Fucking pounce on Cortan.
I'm getting Eldritch Blast ready.
Well, Cortan doesn't know that he's about to pounce, because all you're hearing from Vortar is meow, meow,
No,
meow.
but I just know that she's gonna give it to him. There's grab the kitty.
You're really gonna hurt an innocent kitty?
Sure.
You
I
have
figured
no heart.
Great. Tell me something I don't know.
All right, roll to hit.
With repel.
All right, so mid-leap, Vortar, you jump, turn back into your regular form, and Cortan puts his hand out, and you're blasted in the chest by this force, and you're knocked back 10 feet.
Okay.
Roll damage.
Snatch the volley out of the way.
Yep.
He's quick thinking and devilishly handsome.
Devilishly.
Devilishly.
Are you gonna roll damage on that, Cord?
Nah.
Okay.
I only wanted the repel.
Vortar, did you see that? Cortan attacked you.
Vortar is standing naked. Staring at
Aren't you
Cortan.
always? Aren't you always?
Well, generally, but I usually have the loincloth, but I take it off for the sleep.
No.
One never knows.
And where the bedroll once was is probably the most disgusting loincloth you've ever seen laying on the ground. There's flies that are beginning to buzz around it.
Yes! Blessed lucky flies, they have abandoned me since the Underdark! I think.
I think I just gagged.
Sildar reaches over Redai's face and covers his eyes. You don't need to see that.
Vortar's gonna stand there fucking dazed for a second, and he's gonna go, someone tell me right meow what has fucking happened! Right fucking meow! What in the what? Why would Vashenka fucking do this to Vortar?
It's probably because you didn't lay enough bombs, man, when you were going over the Baylands. He was probably pissed. He was probably like, you know, Vortar, you need to put more. That's not enough.
In the name of the 7 holy scroats, including the centermost ghostly and holiest of all scroats,
It's all Corten.
orcish upside down. What's the upside down accursed orcish hell of eternal upside down pooping is going on here today?
We're blaming it all on Cortan.
I can't do that kind of crap.
We don't know what else you can do. I mean, you can just automatically shoot other stuff out of your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So?
We're just gonna step forward and be like, Morton! The shield! No, Morton, what has happened right now?
I told you, you didn't lay enough bombs down on the Feylands.
And so you have cursed Morton!
I didn't do this. This is
You want to
shaken.
move this curse?
No! The jihadist told me this.
Pick it up.
He said he wasn't happy with you.
You do not speak to Vishenka.
I said that's why the
He
jihadist
speaks
told me
all
this.
the chicken man.
What?
Podrick told him to do it.
All the chicken man told him to do it. I sense this foul sorcery all about him.
Ah!
Vortar. Buddy.
Cleanse him with poop! Cleanse him with poop!
Ah! Morton will run around the center of the room.
Vortar still has like a tail.
No less.
Oh my god, can you imagine if he still had a tail, still like growing back out?
That's not a tail. It's on the wrong side.
Gross.
That's probably the missing piece that Vishenka wanted dropped on the Feylands.
Ah! Ah! And then I'm gonna fucking go back and fucking I'm gonna dig through my shit wherever that was sitting by my bedroll. I'm gonna pull out the holy goat scrub and I'm gonna fucking have to anoint the chamber.
Yeah, as you rub it on, the walls magically clean themselves.
Ah!
Damn, that Cloud Genie's gonna be pissed at Vortar.
I'm gonna keep doing that. I'll try it for a while. Then if it keeps happening, then I'll eventually give up.
Yeah, as you guys watch, he smears this substance on the wall, and then as he walks away, you see it just kind of shimmer and then vanish.
This is an evil place. We must leave as soon as possible.
It's kind of boring.
It repels the holy goat scrub. Gortan, the Maleficent, has fucking cursed Vortar with the form of what the cat, and fucking there's no breakfast.
This must be terrible. This must be what hell's like for you, man.
No, there are many orcish hells that they are almost.
But this must be like the
at
worst.
At least 13 or 14 are worse than this one.
There's no unicorns here. It's not near the
That's
worst.
true. You know what? You got a
I
point.
don't know.
Don't speak of things you do not understand, Aldic the Chicken Man.
Yeah, sure.
I will, however, anoint Cortan's fucking head with that shit real good. Slap him. Aldic, release Cortan right now!
You must wipe poop on him to get the Aldic out.
I
He
will,
can't stand the smell.
I will hellish rebuke you, your ass right now.
Aldic cannot stand the smell of pork feces.
God bless America. Okay, I think that time Vortar's gonna realize he's naked.
Okay.
Vortar apologizes for whatever.
It's okay, Vortar. Am I able to look now?
Yes.
Okay.
Vortar is
Great. Awesome.
I'm gonna glare over at Cortan, child. I don't know how, but the fake trickery is involved.
Hmm.
Yeah, so as you guys are, recovering from the morning's events, the table is magically placed with just about any kind of breakfast food you could imagine. There's sausages and bacon and eggs, and there's some breakfast beer and various juices. There's a platter of fresh fruits.
Oh, this looks great.
Porter will walk over to the fucking table, and he shall help himself to many helpings of bacon. He'll be eating the bacon.
Yeah, and as you pull bacon off and put it on your plate, you look up, and the plate has repopulated the bacon.
This is the most blessed form of sorcery Vortar has ever seen.
Bowl of cheesy grits and sprinkle some bacon in there and some eggs and yeah.
Listen to someone who's been in the South for a little bit.
Shut up.
Well, I'll be.
Dolly Parton.
Right and tootin'.
I hate you all.
Yeah, and Sildar turns to Radai and says, if you haven't lost your appetite, young one, we should probably eat.
But I would just like emphatically shake his head yes, or nod his head yes.
Okay, and he walks over and purposefully sits like closest to Cortan, allowing space next to him for Radai. And so you guys, you eat your breakfast, and you still haven't seen or heard from Zephyros. Occasionally you hear him muttering to himself in giant.
What's he saying?
It almost sounds like a one-sided conversation. Like he seems to be asking questions, and then you hear him answering questions that weren't asked.
Okay. Weird. Vortar would care more for this if there wasn't like so much incredibly wonderful bacon.
Right.
He will
No,
he,
I
he will
thought
pull
that was
he will pull a piece of bacon off and eat it, and then fucking every time a piece of bacon reappears upon the plate, he'll be like,
Apology given till it's full.
hours. And then almost as if almost unwittingly, Vortar reaches over and grabs a pitcher of milk, drinks the whole fucking thing.
Fair enough. Can I get y'all to make a perception check, please?
Perception check.
What's over it? Everything you've eaten pops out of your stomach, goes back on the
If Vortar could poop bacon, he would be the most popular orc in all of the land.
God, the men folk are too busy with bacon.
So yeah, Valia, as you're eating breakfast and watching Vortar drink an entire pitcher of milk, and then kind of subconsciously he kind of licks the back of his paw and then like rubs it like behind his ear, back of his hand, more accurately. Sorry, and then you hear the flapping of what sounds like has to be close to a dozen winged creatures of some kind coming from the door.
Her elven ears will twitch, and she'll glance over her shoulder and look towards the door and look back to the guy. There's a lot of wings coming from the doorway, so I don't know what's coming or what's out there.
birds.
It might be more than birds. Didn't you see
Vortar will
the?
prepare, and he will grab his
Bigger
fucking
birds.
axe, and then he will come back to the table and grab the plate of bacon, and put it, and take it with him, and then he will put it in his he'll put it in his bag, after having grabbed like two giant heaping handfuls of bacon, shoving one of them in his mouth and using the other hand to collect his axe, and then he will stand ready to protect the beloved at the door from all foes, winged and otherwise.
Unbeknownst to Vortar, the plate of bacon disappears from his pack and reappears on the table.
Damn it.
Avalia will shove the last bit of grits and eggs in her mouth and okay.
Or it's
Okay.
grits and eggs.
That a girl?
Radai's just gonna keep eating his fruit and not really pay attention to what's going on. Like, he's paying attention, but he's not that alarmed.
Drama goes to join the orc. He's got
Avalia
What's outside the
follow up,
door?
He pulls out the lightsaber and activates it.
and
Kid,
she'll
what's
look
outside
back.
the door?
She'll look back at Sildor. Watch Radai. Keep him away from Cortan if Cortan's gonna stay here.
I want to know what's outside that door, kid.
Of course, milady.
Thank you.
You know, Sildar, do you like bonfires? I heard Vandal's got a great view this time of year.
He just completely ignores that you even spoke to him.
I'm still looking at Radai. What the hell? What's flying outside the door, huh? Is it just birds? Come on. Ooh.
The master gets a lot of visitors, but it's never been dangerous. So
So as you walk towards the front, you see 9 very thin and lightly armored humans riding giant vultures. They land atop the cloud, whereupon the humans dismount. All the riders wear steel helmets that cover their eyes and resemble stylized bird heads. One of them is equipped with a shoulder bag adorned with a smiling face.
Vortar, you're good at this kind of thing.
Yes, Votar has learned to parlay.
Yes, you have. Very well. I'm so proud of you, too. That's a lot.
And the one wearing the bag over their shoulder kind of steps forward, just like a half step, and he says, I have business to attend to with your patron.
Who is it who comes to see Zephyros, Cloud Guardian, and shelterer and succorer of the beloved of Ashenka, her mad maidens, and Vortar of the Three-Fist tribe? What is thy name?
That is none of your concern.
Wrong answer.
now I'm gonna cast Mage Armor. Just throwing that out there.
Drama's gonna wave Cortan to get up here.
According to the way you stand.
He says,
Yes.
I speak on behalf of Jan Sieben. We have business with the giant. Step aside.
Why are there so many people here that need business?
We will
Why
tell the
couldn't-
giant you are here. You should await his pleasure. And Vortar will scream up in giant, real loud. That Vortar's prodigiously loud.
There's just things flying across the screen! They're big!
I'm just moving him out of the way.
That he has many human visitors who say they have business from John Yarwolf or whatever the fuck he just said.
Yeah, so you call that up and probably, a handful of minutes go by and there's no response.
Well,
Oh,
guess he
not
doesn't
here.
wanna
Breakfast time. Leave me be.
see giant vultures.
And so the one in front kind of stands there impatiently and he says, I have no quarrel with you or your kind. I come to speak to Zephyros, and that is all.
We have told him.
And apparently he's not available.
We do not know. But we have told him. Certainly you understand that the giants do things in their own time.
So how long do you guys wait?
I don't know, it's a while. We have the date pumped.
So finally Zephyros comes down, and he says, why are you bothering me? In general.
Point at the door. You got visitors. They're ruining my
Mighty
meal.
Zephyros, these humans come to speak with you. They have business, so they say. They come upon their flying chicken vultures.
And he says, well then, let them in.
As you say. And then I'll walk forward and say, Mighty Zephyros, Cloud Warden, and Protector of the beloved of Vashenka, her man-maidens and Vortar, Three-Fist of the clan of Three-Fist, says you allows you entry to speak with his lordship.
And so yeah, the two that are kind of garbed differently step forward and are quickly flanked by the other members of the entourage. Too many tokens to move around. Once Zephyros is in sight, he speaks up again and says, I am Amaranth, and this is Navon. We come to speak to you on behalf of Jan Sebin. We would like to ask in you for your assistance. We offer a gift on behalf of our master, and wish no ill will upon you. We only seek aid. And Zephyros says, he says, Jan Sebin, you say. What is it that you ask of me? The same one that's been talking says, we are looking to free our patron, to help bring this world back into order, return it to its primordial state. And Zephyros stands there and ponders for a moment and then says, what you ask of me is a great boon. I must consult the others. I will return. And with that, he turns and levitates back up through the hole in the ceiling, leaving you standing in front of the entourage. What do the rest of you do?
Well, seeing that Zephyros has decided he's going to consult the others,
I guess it's time to go back to breakfast.
yeah, Vortar's going to go back to breakfast.
Points it away. So who's the patron?
And then he's going to fucking come back with some bacon. There is bacon, it says.
Are you offering it to them?
Yes.
And he kind of like hesitantly reaches forward and he says, and he grabs it and he says, thank you. Others of your kind are not nearly as gracious as you are.
Yes, Vortar is mighty and wise. He does the will of the beloved. And she says, Zephyros says, so there we go. Have bacon. It is good.
At this, you kind of see as Amaranth starts chewing on the bacon, you see several of the cultists. Several of the others look to him in kind of like, "Oh, where's mine?"
So Corton was asking something that he didn't looking around. He's gonna come up and he's like, so, you didn't answer my question. Who's the patron, by the way?
I have already said, Jan Sieben, the gracious one, the Prince of Air.
Can I do an intelligence or religion or whatever check on that?
Yeah, if you wanna, let's go history.
History. That was a shitty roll.
A real shitty, a 1 and a 2.
Sorry, I could have rolled 2 because something similar.
I'm kind of gonna backpedal a little bit on like helping others. With physical tasks, I'm gonna say yes, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense if somebody's trying to remember how you aid them. Doesn't make a lot of logical sense to me.
Well, I was gonna say I have Courtney also kind of do.
So yeah, you could make your own roll, but there's no aiding on like intelligence checks. That's fine.
That's fine. So would it be a history check? You said.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah. You don't know squat.
But I can activate my background of Sage, where even if I don't know, I'll know where to find out. And seeing how we're in a giant library, might know some stuff.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So you know that I mean, even though you rolled a 2, it tends pretty good. That 8 intelligence really helps, or the 8 bonus really helps buffer it. There's one important piece that you know of Jan Sieben that was left out, and it's not that he's just the Prince of Air; he's the Prince of Evil Air. So he's like the
to himself for now.
yeah, he's a prince from the elemental plane, who is mainly responsible for like tornadoes and hurricanes and that kind of thing.
So would Avalia know about him because of him being like nature bound?
Well, the plane of elemental air is actually its own like dimension. So I mean, there may be druids that have additional information, but no direct link to like the elemental plane.
Okay.
At least not yet.
Yeah, Vortar don't know shit about the elemental plane of air.
I just stand around and look good.
What I do know is that this fucking bacon is goddamn.
Gordon sizing everybody up. It's just this. He's bored.
It's more bacon. I'm back. And that's more bacon.
So yeah, after maybe 10 or 15 minutes of awkward silence, it's one of those things where like the others are trying to stand like attention to be like impressive, but occasionally you'll see one that like adjusts their armor or adjusts the mask they're wearing, and Zephyros returns from his room above.
Get out of the man's way.
Yeah, so as he comes down from the ceiling, he lands behind Cortan, and he says, "My contacts were not of great assistance in this." And he turns to each of you and says, "Well, what do you think I should do?"
Vortar is, do I know anything about fucking Jan Sieben?
You can try and roll a history check if you want. Jesus Christ.
I don't know shit about Jan Sieben. Vortar has no knowledge of this Jan Sieben. Is he a Jarl of the Giants?
Rodai would like very slowly like raise his hand like he was in a classroom.
Do you know something, Renee?
Gonna just say they introduced himself last night in all the chaos. I just generally know that when you have gods and stuff like that, kind of when they come to the mortal plane, stuff generally doesn't get too balanced. They actually kind of go the other way to, not being balanced. So I personally would say it's a no. And he just kind of like looked at him like, if you all agree with that too,
I look over and be like, kid, is he good news or bad news? I don't care.
It depends on your standpoint, I suppose. To them, he's obviously good because they want to bring him back, but to everybody else, he might.
What does
not
he
be,
do?
so. He makes like tornadoes and stuff. He's the patron of like the dangerous winds and stuff.
Oh. Okay. That's all you had to say. And then he's gonna cast Eldritch Blast right on this guy, right in front of him.
No.
So
Okay, so Zephyros comes down, Radai says, and Cortan attacks.
Yep.
Roll initiative.
God.
shit. Okay.
Hey, look. Combat.
Yay.
New chance to proud.
No preemptive blast this time.
Nope.
No preemptive blast. I rolled a 1 on my thing.
Today's a
Mortar.
good day.
Mortar, don't you have advantage on initiative now? Because you're.
I've already given it to him. Yeah. He got that at what, 6th level?
7th, I thought was the 7th.
Oh, so then no. He took multi-class.
I took 1 level fighter.
Oh,
until I go
Jesus.
back to fucking. Not until I go back to barbarian. Which I'm not gonna do until after I get second wind and action surge. Alright, action surge and fucking fighting style.
Alright, well, I'm rolling all these. If you want to go ahead and do your attack there, since it was kind of preemptive.
You got it.
Ben, did you say he was a storm giant?
Yep.
It was a cloud giant.
Cloud Giant.
Okay, I was confused. I thought it was a cloud giant, but then you said storm giant. So I was like,
Assuming it hits, but
Yeah, it does.
now I'm using repel.
Alrighty, so yeah, they're obviously surprised. Cortan blasts energy out of his hand. You actually get 2 attacks, don't you?
Okay, go again. Oh, I don't know if it was like.
Because
that's right.
because Eldritch Blast gets well, no, because Eldritch Blast, once your character level gets high enough, you get 2 rays with it.
Okay, then I'll just do the
As
same
one
thing
attack.
again. Okay.
Okay.
Does that hit as well?
It does.
Okay. Sending him back even further.
All right. Yeah. So, the one that you just blasted twice with your Eldritch Blast, kind of flies backwards. You hit him again second time, mid-air. He lands mere feet from the edge of the platform.
Damn, I missed. Wasn't far enough.
And then you see as he gets up, he says, "You will pay for this." And then he jumps on his giant vulture and begins to fly away.
Bye.
This one's going to move forward and attack Court.
So wait, if we let them kill Cortan,
And he crits. You take 10 points of slashing damage.
Okay, a reaction.
Yeah.
Okay, do Hellish Rebuke. And the other cultist.
I think Hellish Rebuke is to rebuke the one that attacked you.
It just said I can point to any creature. As long as I take damage.
Oh, okay.
I think so. I can give you the card unless I'm wrong. If it is, I'll just send it back to him anyway. Of course it won't.
Yeah, it says you point your finger at the creature that damaged you.
Okay. Doesn't matter. I'll give it back to him.
Yeah, you point your finger and the creature that damaged you is momentarily surrounded by hellish flames. Creature must make a dexterity saving throw or take damage.
Cool. I'll still do it. I'll send it back to him anyway.
Alrighty. He does not make his save. So he attacks you, you take the 10 points of damage, and then you rebuke him with the fire. It swirls up around him, and as the fire vanishes, you see him laying on the ground, his body smoldering.
Yeah, I can do that again. Yeah!
I'm really
And
glad that only Cortan went ahead of us. Ahead of the giant. Really glad that he's the only one who acted before the giant. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, so Zephyros, seeing this act of aggression, he's going to cast Mass Suggestion. That is a huge log. So everybody, well, actually, at this point, the cultists and Vort and Cortan, I need you to make a wisdom save, please.
Sure.
First time he actually saves on his damn wisdom.
Shh. I've saved on wisdom before.
Oh, whatever.
So yeah, the suggestion he makes, he says, you will leave this place in peace. Luckily Cortan saved. Otherwise, he'd be trying to find a way off of a cloud.
oh god
She'd be
damn
like,
it!
Billy be like, where am I gonna go?
Right off the cloud.
I landed here, man. You dropped me off wherever.
So yeah, you
I'm not
just
falling off.
you just see Zephyros. Aval, you're up next. You see Zephyros stretch out his hand, and you see him kind of make this arcane sigil in the air, and then he like grasps his fist, and he speaks the command aloud, and you see kind of all of the cultists kind of recoil a little bit. What do you do?
I am gonna just wait. I guess hold action.
Vortar, what are you going to do?
I'm gonna walk up and grab Cortan.
Okay, so athletics check, please. And are you resisting Cortan?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so I'll need an athletics check from you as well.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my god.
It's all extra. It's any character. If I'm gonna be an asshole to the group, my dice roll so good.
Damn asshole tendencies.
Ask Drummond. How many times in tour? How many times in tour?
Too many times.
Too many times. Thank you.
What now?
Athletics.
Watch you crit. Please crit.
I'm gonna fucking I'm gonna raid the two because I can't.
It's not gonna hit you.
I need to. Oh shit. Well, I should have clicked advantage there, but I did not.
It's okay. Roll again.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, so you grapple. So Cortan, you reach out your hand, blast these two. You hear the suggestion try and wash over you. You fight through it, and then Vortar walks up behind you and just wraps you in a bear hug.
I'm gonna grab. I still have movement.
Yeah, you do.
I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna grab Vortan. I'm like, Vortan, Cortan. I'm like, I can move him with me. Cortan, you get your ass back in this vessel right meow!
Yeah, so you can move half your distance, basically carrying Cortan. Yeah, anything else?
Nope. The hell is wrong with you?
I took one of them, so then I had my fun, I guess.
Yeah, so Amaranth turns to Zephyros and says, you are obviously not the one we are looking for in this endeavor, and makes a retreat. Avalia, what was your held action?
Oh, it was just gonna be like produce flame if they moved closer.
Okay. Yeah, so he's gonna mount up on his vulture and begin to fly away.
You know, this is gonna be a great conversation now. The guy shows up and the other guys are like, yeah, there's nothing wrong. And that one guy's just gonna act crazy. I'm gonna love it.
Redai?
Redai is going to cast Minor Illusion.
And what
there's
illusion are
gonna
you creating?
There's gonna be like a small cat-like stewardess right there, with like an air steward, like right this way, please.
Right, meow.
Right, meow.
I wish I hadn't deleted that token.
Your vultures now depart momentarily.
Alright, so yeah, are any of you going to try and stop the cultists from leaving?
No.
Well, no.
I don't know anything about the fucking cultists. No one can really credibly explain it. The time it would take for me to do something about it, so probably not. Unless someone was gonna make like some kind of a command decision, be like, I don't know, slay them all or no more bacon.
Draman, are you going to try and stop them from leaving, or?
I don't think they would do anything that a paladin would slaughter them for.
Only reason Avalia isn't it is because
It would have to be
Zephyr
if Avalia told him to do it, then he would go do it, and he would tell Vortar Vasheka commands it. It would be
and the only reason she's not is because Zephyr casted what he did, the
yeah. If Zephyr told him to leave, then
mass
it's good.
suggestion.
Alright, so over the next round, all the cultists run out of the room, each kind of giving you a dirty look as they go, and then mount their vultures and fly off. And Zephyros turns to Cortan and says, why would you do that?
He is not well, great lord.
It's gonna be a great conversation when they all go back to headquarters.
Can you fix him?
There's nothing wrong with me.
He's possessed by some evil mage.
He has
Aldrich
the gate.
the Magnificent. It twists his mind. He was good and true. Sildar can vouch.
Oh my god. Shut
You
up.
can help him with your mighty sorcery, which is
I really-
a sorcery capable of creating endless bacon. Surely you might help our friend.
I
Vortar
really
will
don't
grant
like him now.
anything he has to bring our friend back to where he was, because right now he is just such a dick.
Yeah, so in front of you see the dead cultist on the ground, his body like charred, and you can kind of hear the one last giant vulture outside kind of restlessly kind of moving around.
That's the plane right out of here.
And Zephyros turns to Vortar after his outburst, and he says, you say there is something wrong with him. What do you
Yes.
mean?
His mind is twisted by an evil mage, Aldrich the Magnificent.
or whatever other name it calls itself these days, and he has not been himself ever since we entered into the Underdark. Mortar has tried to reason. The Beloved has tried to reason. The Jihadist has cast sorcered spells to have confirmed that in fact his mind is no longer his own. We were about to seek a shaman when we came here.
He says, I am no shaman, but I do have magics available to me. And he turns towards Cortan, and he makes another sigil in the air. Cortan, can you make a wisdom saving throw, please?
Give him like a big old snarl. Fuck away from me.
All right, so as you watch a twisted crown of jagged iron has appeared on Cortan's head.
Ooh.
And you can see kind of a purplish glow coming from his eyes. And you are now currently charmed by Zephyros, Cortan.
Okay. Drummond claps. Yay!
He says, you have a short time to ask him any question. He must answer fully and truthfully, but you only have time for 3 questions. Use it wisely.
Okay, what do you guys think?
How do we make you not a dick anymore?
No.
All right, Cortan, you have to answer that.
Be nice to me.
That's a lie.
And this isn't like the zone of truth where you can kind of
I know,
skirt around it. This
I try to think actually really truthfully. No, that was kind of a joke. I think he's actually even kind of into this. It's more of like you just don't come between what he wants. It's like if you don't stand in his way, he's really not going to give you a hard time.
But then why is he on the team? It doesn't make sense.
What is it that you want?
I haven't figured it out yet. It's to put it in perspective. It's almost like he became a newborn, and now he's kind of like just having fun. He's bored. Like an incident like this is meant to like he was just having fun. He was bored. So it's more like he hasn't figured it out yet. I imagine it's like he just kind of like just woke up, kind of out of something that you've been kind of stuck in for a long time, and now you're just kind of experimenting. That's what's. It's kind of. I'm trying to say this out of character.
Okay.
That's 2 questions.
Yeah.
Red is gonna cut in because obviously, in his mind at least, nobody is asking the question that needs to be asked. He's going to be like, "How do we get rid of you and bring their old friend back instead of whatever you are?"
That was my next question.
Trying to think if he would.
If you have a frying pan, I can hit him repeatedly.
Yeah, no shit, right? I don't think he would know, but I think in maybe a better sense, he'd tell you how he came out, kind of deal. If that maybe helps.
Yeah, it's.
Shut up.
So now he's a gay edgelord. Got it.
Yeah, no, sure, no.
Inclusion. We're all about inclusion here.
Coming out.
He does have another man inside of him.
Yeah, it's called Drummond. No. So, put it into perspective, out of character, translate this into character. So, after Demogorgon, and I'm not going to say this character stuff, explains because I don't know how. After the incident of Demogorgon, this is an entity that came out of the sword that kind of awoke it. And Corton, in his head, made a bargain with it for power from with the warlock abilities, etc., etc. After the Mind Flare incident, now because Corton went into such a traumatized day, he almost life, kind of died kind of deal. This entity within the sword, it was able to switch places with Corton. So now Corton is now stuck in the sword, and the entity that was in the sword is now Corton.
Oh.
Spill the beans like that. Don't know. I don't know how to come about. I don't care. I only knew how to get out of the sword. And now I'm out of the sword, and now I don't care.
And after answering that, the crown disperses from around your head. And
Look clearly at the cloud giant, you son of a bitch.
Bortar's gonna quickly snatch the sword off of fucking off of Cortan's back. He's gonna be like, "We will save you, Cortan!" to the sword.
and Zephyros responds to your outburst, Cortan. He says, "My mother was a very dignified giantess, I should have you know."
Bortar, when you hold it, by the way, because this is the property of the sword, you actually feel the emotions. You actually you feel grumpy now.
Grumpy like Cortan?
You feel grumpy like Cortan because we made the sword. It like communes through emotions. That's how like the rules of the because it's a sentient weapon.
I can feel him. It's Cortan, but not evil, dickish, capricious Cortan. It's regular, grumpy, stalwart Cortan. He's in here. I can feel him.
Gay?
Like the scene from
Okay, I can feel him.
like the scene from Poltergeist when you're like, I can smell it on me just for a second.
Snatch back the sword. Keep your
Oh no,
hands.
I'm walking over with the sword to fucking to Drummond and fucking Avalia. Look, beloved, touch the sword. You can feel him. He's Cortan. He's grumpy.
She reaches out and touches the sword, and yeah, you can feel his grumpy ass in there.
See, honest. Feel him. He's here.
I felt him plenty.
No,
Gay?
Gay.
Bortar will fucking hold the sword protectively, and then he'll wrap it in furs.
What is Cortan doing with all this going on?
Need that back, please.
Yeah, no.
I still need it.
No.
I still need it.
No.
Okay. Then maybe I should just take it. You won't. I mean, you know what, Vortar? Maybe you should just throw it off the clouds. Maybe that'll work.
no.
No. We must protect this sword, for it is Cortan.
Well, I mean, if I don't have anything to protect myself, I mean, he's dead. He's dead.
Silence, Aldic! Bortar thought you amusing and a credit when you made the chickens dance. Then, after the mushroom incident, you have been nothing but a thorn in our side.
What mushrooms?
Release Cortan from the grasp of your evil menace.
Vortar, I don't know how.
Bortar is not wise in his sorcery. He will protect Cortan.
I want to make a knowledge check on it.
Sure.
What would I roll?
Let's go Arcana. So you haven't heard of this exact thing happening before, mostly because I made it up. But you have heard of sentient. You have heard of sentient weapons before, having personalities different from their wielders. Usually they're of similar, like alignment or goals. For instance, the lightsaber that Draman has is a sentient weapon. I mean, if that weapon was a person, it would probably be like a paladin of some kind. Where this one is almost directly opposed to the way Cortan was. So you've heard of sentient weapons, and there is a way to banish the consciousness of whatever it is out. But in this situation, you're not sure what that would do to Cortan version 1 to Cortan Mark 2.
I'd like to use my sage background to know if I would know if there was anywhere in the world that they could actually go and read up, or somebody who would know.
How many times can you use that? Is there unlimited?
That's infinite.
Man, that background is just going to turn into me making up a bunch of shit.
Wait. You could. The DM can say if it's like an incredibly rare thing that either the knowledge is locked away where mortals can't reach, or it's just something completely new and there's no record. You don't have to give me an answer.
So, maybe in your studies, you've heard of, like there are entities on like the celestial plane that keep record of all things arcana. There's a one of the largest libraries, in Faerun is one of them is in Bryn Shander, which happens to be on the Sword Coast. But if it's going to have the exact information you need, you're not sure. Did that come through? Did y'all hear that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We just don't know what to fucking do with it. So, all right.
So, Cortan, are you just going to let them keep your sword, or what are you going
No,
to
I
do
mean,
about
he's
it?
always going to want to get it back, but I mean, he'll figure out something, I suppose. He's going to need it at something to fight back. Lightbringer. Nope. Okay, so Corton's going to grab Lightbringer. He's going to go to the edge, and he'll toss it off the clouds.
I got a phone call right back.
Does any?
Over the Fey land? Because I mean, there could be a silver lining to this.
Right.
So y'all see him draw Lightbringer, and he's looking like he's about to throw it over the edge. Is anybody gonna try and stop him or do anything?
I don't think I have anything that would work on right now.
Would Radai know that that's a magical artifact? Like, would he feel magic off of it, or?
Probably not at this point, because it's just been kind of at his side.
Yeah, so it just looks like a normal mace.
Yeah.
He's not gonna care.
Hold on.
Cortez just like, fuck this magical weapon, gone.
Yeah, fuck it. Okay, bye.
Maybe.
You don't have any flight forms yet, right?
No.
Shaman has fucking
Misty Step?
He could Misty Step off the cloud to it. It only move 30 feet.
And then Baldur's Death.
I can move.
Shaman has
Well, we're not in combat round, so we can move freely.
Well, I mean, this is kind of a
It's
combat... Yeah, it's a combat round out of combat round. Like, you're going to have to do something from range to be able to do anything.
Well, yeah, I know. I just wanted to move up so I can have him in eyesight. And then before he tosses it off, can I entangle him? Do entanglement?
That would they just restrict him from moving?
It would restrict you from doing whatever you were doing. I said I would.
It's drained. Yeah, no action.
Alright, so let's break this down into 2 steps. Let's go ahead and let's have both of you roll a dexterity save.
Shit.
I know that's some shit.
This is just kind of to see how quickly each of you react. Yeah, so you see him go to throw it, you go to make your reaction, and you still get the spell off, and if you want to go ahead and roll a strength save.
Strength save. Hold on. Sorry.
No, it's all good. So yeah, you throw it and you turn as these weeds and vines sprout from the cloud, and then you just kind of walk out of it.
I tried.
Okay. Tried your hardest.
Rodai would be like, what was that, special?
Someone could jump on the giant vulture and ride it down the kitty.
This is magic mace. Cortan needed to get an axe anyway. Like a real man.
There you go, see, Vortar, but I think more
Still
of a
not giving me
sword.
one.
I mean, he's more protective with me anyway. Can I roll a deception check?
Vortar
Or
is
can I roll a
a-
deception
Vortar
roll
is-
and I gotta
Vortar
say,
is not
he's
a-
best safe with me, Vortar.
Vortar is not a smart man.
Yeah,
Why, so roll deception.
deception
But he has
versus.
But he has very strong fucking conviction.
Um,
Now you are not Cortan anymore.
He knows it, you know that. He's like,
Yeah, he's going.
Not Cortan anymore. So he wouldn't treat you like you're like. He would be like a stranger telling him some shit. Fucking like, you know what I mean? He just wouldn't like. He wouldn't.
All right, so what we'll do is deception versus insight with advantage. So Cortan roll deception, and Vortar roll insight with advantage.
oh shit, it doesn't matter, it's a fail.
No. Well, I'm gonna roll it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Damn.
But yeah, since he crit failed, oh yeah, there you go.
It would
Yeah,
be-
he's not believing you, Cortan.
lies like the fade.
And since Drummond is away and we're 2 hours in, let's go ahead and take our halfway break.
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
Yay.
Yay.
Wait for it.
Yeah, no, you're alright. Just missed it.
All right, so we cut back to just as Cortan's throwing the Lightbringer off the edge. He turns around smugly. Vines wrap up around his body. Anybody else want to try and do anything?
Why would you throw a magical artifact?
Rodai would perk up and be like, magical?
Guess I don't have a weapon.
Doesn't mean you're gonna get the longsword.
I guess it might be.
Mortar, throw the longsword.
No.
No!
Do it. Do it. Do
Cortan!
it. Do it.
Rodai's just gonna like start moving around here, and then
Mortar,
he's,
throw
She's
Cortan.
gonna look at watch Rodai
and then
curiously.
he's going to cast Find Familiar and cast a hawk and tell the hawk to go get Lightbringer and bring it back to him.
Okay, yeah, so in a matter of seconds, Rodai walks forward, casts his spell, Hawk conjures midair, flies down past Cortan, and disappears underneath the cloud cover. We'll have to see if he's able to catch it before it reaches terminal velocity.
Oh,
Well,
shit,
even if
yeah,
it
that's
hits the
heavy.
ground.
What's the range on your familiar, though? Does it have a...
Familiar, I can communicate with him up to 100 feet, but if I say go do this, it's infinite.
Okay. Poor Cortan, all of his plans getting foiled.
It's whatever. It's just a character.
Alright, so what are the rest of you doing at this point?
I'm watching Rodai, curious on what he's doing.
Let's go look over that vulture. Get the fuck away from here.
It kind of like squawks at you and then flies off.
It's like, no one decided to jump on that thing and go grab it.
I said that, but I know not to put a volley on it because she's probably gonna get tossed off.
Can we eat it?
It's gone.
It's already flown away. It kind of looks at the dead cultist, squawks at Cortan, and then flies away.
While Rodai waits for Hockey to get back, he's just gonna kind of like inspect the cultists, see if there's anything cool on him.
He's wearing underneath the cloak. You see a set of leather armor.
It's lacy.
It doesn't have. He doesn't have anything real fancy. He's just got a short sword. The only thing really of import is the mask. And as you look at it, it's got the stylized version of a bird's head. With the bottom jaw missing, that kind of points out over its nose.
I'm gonna pick up the mask and just kind of look at it.
Mortar is gonna like eat bacon whilst he's fucking like thinking.
Yeah, the table is magically cleared.
No! Mortar's gonna step forward and say, wait, on the street. Shit. Mortar's gonna step forward and he's gonna say, we must find a way to save Cortan. And put whoever that is back in this sword.
Or at least vanquish him.
Well, whatever. Aldic can go to his eternal best to upgrade the untiring awaits him.
Yeah, we can send him to the Demigorgon, or past the Demigorgon, far, far away. Zephyr, do you know of anything or anyone that would be powerful enough to help us with the mission of getting our grumpy old friend back compared to the person we have now?
Everyone hates Cortan.
I know. I mean, it's supposed to be though. Like the character's meant to be hated. So.
So yeah, he kind of kneels down to get on your level, and he says, I am sorry, fair one, but my magics are not of the restorative type, and I do not have any contacts that would be of aid in this. Perhaps somebody of a clerical order, or someone of the divine may be of assistance.
We'll just- Yes, the shaman. Well, we'll have to see if we find
Zephyros is
one.
wise.
Would I
thank
know
you.
like an academy for clerics or something like that?
Yeah, they're called churches. They're
Like a
weird.
cathedral or something along those lines, yeah.
Yeah, just 1 second.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Okay, Steam, pop up in the middle of nowhere. I don't care.
That's
No.
fine. You want to update
No.
everybody?
No, I don't want to restart Steam. I want to close Steam.
No, I had Steam on the computer for half a second when I was trying to make a Steam controller work. And that shit's like fucking, it's like iTunes, man. It's like, it tries to take over your whole shit.
I know.
Yeah, you've heard of a place called the Edificant Library, which is home to several different priestly orders, but it is some ways away from where you currently are.
There's the whatever you said, the library order, whatever.
Edificant Library.
The Edificant Library. It's a ways away, but I know a lot of like clerical orders go there to study and to trade research. I kind of wanted to go there too, just kind of check it out. And he's just gonna kind of like twiddle his thumbs and be like, "But you know, if you don't want me, that's
Corin's gonna give him this big scold and kind of noticing he's really close to the edge. Not saying anything.
Amalia is gonna move up in between. Just look at Cortan.
Because now they're treading on like shit that he ain't happy with. 2, 3, 4, 5. I think this is enough.
See, if Cortan kills you, it's not my fault, Locke.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, but if he tries to hit Amalia while he's
Oh. Oh.
Oh god.
This edification, this edification, the library. You know where it is? Faye?
I do, but it's really, really, really far from here. Maybe if we had a vulture or something.
Too bad. Trust enough for one away.
But we do have those magnificent creatures that I seen flying around. Maybe we can ride one.
I recommend that. Also,
Oh, what?
Sealy Cortan, don't
Mhm.
start shit because I'm stronger than you little fuckwad.
What's your armor class again, Bobo?
I will suplex you over this cloud in an instant, you piece of shit.
Let's do it. Hey, don't tempt me, Bobo. You're 40 feet away from an edge, and I have action surge, Bobo.
Why are you an old person again?
I know, right?
And you're in metal, and I have heat metal.
Yeah, we'd fuck you up.
I know.
Mighty Zephyros,
Yes.
will you send us to this library the Fae speaks of?
Vortar, a library?
Sacrifices must be made.
It is dire.
The House of Books?
Our need is dire. We must save our friend Gortan.
You go hold the sword up.
I'm trying to find where exactly this is on the map.
Oh god.
Please, mighty Zephyros.
Chamber, you
grant
want
us
to go on a
this
campaign
boon.
today?
Gortar shall do whatever does desire.
With a cherry on top.
Cherries and vegetables.
He says, unfortunately, I am needed elsewhere. I cannot make that trek. We are already on our way to Fandalen. Say then.
Yeah, the bonfires are really nice this time of year.
I assure you, the city has recovered. Yet
Oh, we got money.
there is a new threat in the region.
A new threat in the
New
region?
threat. Tell us of this new threat. And tell Sildar.
Do you not remember the... Sorry, I'm still looking at the map. I'm not very good at reading and talking at the same time.
Take time.
He says, do you not remember my mentioning of the shattering of the ordning?
Yes, the shattering of the ordning. Yes, what are purpose?
Giants of every ilk are carving out their own lands. Hill giants are prevalent in the area surrounding Fandalen.
At least they are not so despised as a Negro Fae.
My contacts have not informed me of any further incursion from the Drow.
This is good. What maybe we do to aid this restoring of the ordning?
First, I think it is best you check with the people of Fandalen, see how they are. There's rumors of a giant hero nearby that is supposed to be making his way that direction.
Mighty foes the giants are. Much glory could be had. If this would meet with your approval, we shall do it. We are in your debt for having saved us.
You owe me nothing other than to do your part.
Orta shall do the part of himself and any three lesser creatures. We shall restore Cortan to his normal, grumpy, yet stalwart self.
Who shot it? Still gonna need that sword.
Banish all Dick to the realm of Ungok the Untiring, or wherever the hell it is that he came from. Put him back in his sword.
Alright, about at this time, Redai, you sense your familiar come within telepathic range.
I'm gonna ask it if it found anything.
And it says... it doesn't really speak, it's more of like a telepathic link, and you get the feeling that that it found something, yes. And as it comes up over the clouds, you see it carrying beneath it Lightbringer.
I will hold out my arm, and Hawk will just kind of drop the Lightbringer into my hand, which Radai, even for his very small stature of being a child, seems to just hold it without even a flinch, like it was very light to him. And then the Hawk would come to his shoulder, and Radai would almost greedily stuff it into his cloak. A side of him you really haven't seen, as he almost like snickers greedily, like, yes, good.
Yeah, and
If this is BDO, I would say you're shy.
yeah, and Avalia, can you make a perception check for me?
Sure.
So as he sticks out his hand, you notice that he's wearing something on his hands. You're not able to get a very good look before he stows the weapon, and his cloak once again hangs down over them.
She'll just arch a brow and look at him. But then look back at Cortan and make sure Cortan's not moving.
What is Cortan doing, seeing that his
Actually,
plot has
looking
been
at,
formed?
I kind of want to do an insight check on Radai. seeing how he just stowed away the mace, I kind of noticed the cackling, and I kind of went to insight.
Okay.
Any
You didn't notice anything?
Nope. Like, damn. Okay.
No, I mean, I'll be honest with it. There's really nothing that he's trying to hide. That he is incredibly greedy when it comes to like magical artifacts, and he's very gluttonous in getting new ones. It's his curiosity more than anything. There's nothing really to hide there.
Okay. So he's just gonna kind of smile about it and back over Rotar and then say nothing else for the moment.
If Votar did not think he would emasculate Cortan irreparably, he would kick you so hard what passes for testicles in your kind. Zephyros, mighty Zephyros, how long until we can return to Vandal?
We should be there in 2 days' time if we are not waylaid any further.
This is good news. When Nortar's gonna go over and confer with Silver.
Navalia is probably gonna sit here and look at Radai since it's quiet, and she's gonna talk to him, try to get to know who he is.
We're not adopting him.
Too late, Drummond.
God.
Too late.
First I have an armor baby, now I have a creepy magic baby.
He's not creepy.
Little cackling baby.
A little bit.
He just likes magical shit.
The magicals, just like the magical items, are like your hair. You love your hair. He loves
Exactly.
magical items.
Oh, he must take after his dad. Oh God.
Ooh, shiny.
Okay, so yeah, what does the conversation go between? How does the conversation go between Avalia and Radai? Like, what do you say?
Well, first, where he came from.
First, I'm going to ask Ben, where do coyotes come from? Well, when a mama elf and a daddy elf love each other
Very much.
or there's a lot of alcohol involved.
That part I understand.
Your mother and father are from the province of Crooked Bush. They met at the 5-year-long Elven Symposium on flowers and the inner beauty. And after much courtship, which involved really shitty things like poetry and the exchanging of fruits and vegetables, they moved and retired back to their homes and decided to live out their incredibly long yet boring fucking lives with each other in Crooked Bush. And then when you came of age, it was decided that you, who would inherit their love of flowers and their love of a natural curiosity about the world, would be educated in the manner of their kind. But as you went forth to take up these items, you found yourself bored by these, much more intrigued by the petty enchantments and glamours that the Fae use to fool, trick, despise, deceive, and otherwise bamboozle the other races into believing they are something more or less like another creature that had a soul. And so you decided you must learn sorcery. Having gone far and wide, you found yourself at the Academy of Hooky Shooky, which is kind of a disreputable academy of sorcery where they teach a lot of things about a lot of somewhat disreputable practices and fit well with your Fae tendencies. That's just my take on it, though. Whatever. That's what I heard. But that's what I was going to say.
No, that sounds perfect.
Radai would just kind of blink, be like,
Yeah, at this point you can kind of just make up, if you want to make up a city name. I'm not really finding anything specific as to where you have to be from. There are options, Elithaldar, Area of the Snow Eagles, Alcahara, Elysium, Elven Tree,
Alcahara sounds like alcoholism.
Sounds great. So I'm from Okahara. It sounds like alcoholism.
Sounds like you're from Korea asking for a drink.
Right?
Oh. How did you get here?
He'd kind of blush. Obvious that he's not really been talked to a lot from anybody, especially adults. And he'd just be kind of like, oh, well, I did a lot of magic, and the library back home was kind of wanting, so I was traveling around trying to find cool stuff to read, and that's when I found my way here because he has so many books. And there'd be like a twinkle in his eye.
You like books, huh?
Uh-huh.
You'll get along perfect with Vortar.
I really doubt that.
His bark's worse than his bite. But
This plate of bacon will disagree.
no.
All right, so what were you wanting? Oh, sorry, did you have more, Rudai?
No, that's fine.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna be like, well, I personally would prefer not to have any sort of bite, regardless of the quality.
Well, that would be smart. Just make sure you stay away from Vortar when he goes to the bathroom.
Radai would just kind of like slant his eyes and be like, why would I follow him to the bathroom? Is that what this group does a lot?
No, but Vortar has a tendency to need a wipe. Something to wipe with. So
That sounds awful. I'm not wiping paper.
You shall take the place of stool.
I know you're not. That's why I said don't follow him. So it's just a heads up.
All right, so what are you asking Sildar?
Oh, I just want to see if he has the insight into who we might consult, because I know he's like, has some kind of association with a group of people that he was working with, and he might have some kind of insights on someone who would go to close to Vander Allen who could help us with our Corte problem.
Yeah, he looks back at you and he says, I've not spoke with my contacts for some time. I've been in the Underdark as long as you have. As far as finding an answer to the problem at hand, I unfortunately do not know where to look. This is not something I've heard of. I've heard of sentient swords that try and convince their owners to do something they want, but as far as completely overtaking the owner, this is news to me.
All this magicianry makes Vortar's head hurt anyway. Vortar would take it as a great boon if Sildar could talk to his contacts when we return to Vander Allen. See if any of them have more of the knowing of the book magics.
Yeah, so he says, yes, of course. And then he sort of lowers his voice and says, you should keep an eye on him, and you may want to start thinking of what to do if you're unable to free your comrade from his current
already thought of
imprisonment. You don't hear it. Yeah, he lowered his voice just to talk to Vortar because he knows Cortan's in the same room. I mean, you could have walked over with Vortar if you wanted to. But
I'm standing here just gazing about.
Vortar will be wary and vigilant, and he is certain that the jihadists and the beloved also will keep an eye on this all Dick's magnificent fucking possession of Cortan. We appreciate your watchful eye as well, of course.
Yes, of course. I think we should prepare for our arrival in Fandalen. I am concerned with the way I last saw it, the attack of the drow. I hope once they got what they were coming for, they didn't cause too much more problem.
Yes. Vortar can only take comfort in the fact that all those perpetrated this great evil and subjugated us and enslaved us down into the Underdark to pick their shitty vegetables and mushrooms and moss and lichen and the other things, that they have paid dearly for this. And some measure of justice was had for their crimes.
All that I know is when I last saw Fandalen, they were setting things ablaze, and I was being carried off. I hope none remain. Of the drow, I mean.
None too, Vortar assures you. You watched the last become queen spider creature, goddess, before his very eyes, so none in mortal form remain. And do not worry, Sildar, Vortar is certain, well, mostly certain, that under your leadership and stern and definitely more wizened guidance, you shall be able to return Fandalen to its former glory.
I hope so.
However, Vortar has another request.
I will not be hiring whores for you, Vortar.
Ah!
It's almost like he knew.
I thought he was gonna ask for more bacon.
What's this? Muttering about ablings and their stupid version to the mounting of prostitutes.
So what is Drummond doing this whole time while these conversations are going on?
He's just taking it all in. I'm a little sleepy at night, so I'm not like super on the ball, but he's making sure Cortain doesn't go push the kid off the cliff, and wishing, I don't know, he wasn't such a dick. Cortain, that is. Yeah, Cortain.
Fair enough.
And I think
Grumpy Cortain.
I think before Avalia tells Radai to walk in, she tells him that she's seen something on his arm or wrist, and she was curious about what it might be. And if he
you see,
would tell.
I tried to commit suicide a couple years back, so those are just the scars. Thanks for bringing that up, Avalia.
Wow! Wow!
You insensitive cow.
I mean, if you want to end it now, I mean, just say the word.
But
I'll put you on the edge myself.
And now no one's gonna protect you.
Nope.
anyway, in reality, he would kind of perk up with excitement and hold out his hands and show the gauntlets with ogre kind of inscriptions upon it that gave a subtle red glow to them. And he was just kind of like a kid at show and tell, and be like, "Oh, these are gauntlets I got a while back. They make me super strong."
With these gauntlets on, I'm the strongest boy in the world!
I think the only person in here stronger than me are.
Are those gauntlets? Those are giant strengths.
Are those the ones that Yeah, I'll just read it. Hold on.
So he holds out the instruction manual to you.
Wow. That's
Sorry, what
really
was the question? I was blowing my nose.
These are gloves. They make you really strong, okay?
Oh, well, that's awesome. We're gonna have to just see how strong I make you.
Oh yeah, you will, girl. Tonight. Uh-huh. Bring to mine, I'll show you just how strong I can lift that ass.
Thank God for
But
talking.
sadly, I am not Ratosk, so that did not happen.
So, Drummond, you want 3 Eldritch Blasts or
No, I've got a Divine Smite.
She's gonna just tell him you might want to go back inside.
okay.
Maybe I'm gonna buddy your bread. Okay.
Let me butter your biscuit.
Oh, shit. And she walks. Smiled at Cortin and walks away.
So what's Corten doing? Just brooding by the door?
No, he was looking for drama. I never liked your hair.
You're mean. What is wrong with you?
I always thought it was ugly.
God, I hate you. I don't know why you're here still. Can't you be a dwarf already?
Wow.
Why do we have to lose?
Stool.
School.
Ratosk?
Yeah.
Task.
He didn't want to be with us. He fell in love with an underdark woman.
Dirt midget.
Twergar.
Or will kind of overhear that and go, ha ha! Yes! He shall have the ugliest children in all.
Radai would kind of like cringe and like slowly nod in agreement to Vortar.
And don't worry, Drummond, your hair is beautiful. Cortin's just jealous.
I know he is. He barely has hair.
I know, he has a receding hairline.
His face is stupid.
Oh my god.
I need this shit.
His face is stupid. I fucking love it.
Radai would look up to the wise cloud giant sage thing that I can't never remember the name of. And be like, Syndros, and be like, oh, Master Syndros, am I really the child in this room?
He looks to you and he says, the name is Zephyros, and it depends on...
How many years, kid?
And he says, age is but a number. If I told you how old I was, it would boggle your mortal minds. Even for an elf such as you, I am long-lived.
Radai kind of crosses his arms and thinks, like, he can imagine a lot, and he's just like trying to think, it's just how old the guy could be.
Older than your grandfather's grandfather.
So 200 years.
He's probably older than that.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, I mean, high elves are ridiculous.
But he looks very good for his age.
Wow. Way to appeal to his
Valia's trying to step up and get some cloud giant action.
No, she's just being gracious to her.
Who wants some of that?
host.
Robin no
Some
longer
willow
satisfies her.
Oh,
She has to find other things.
She wants some of that airy beard up in there.
Yeah, so Zephyros looks to you and he says, I must consult the others. This recent encounter has me worried. Please, rest easy. I am not aware of any other visitors we might have, and we should arrive at Fandalen on the morning.
Thank you, Lord Zephyros.
And with that, the rest of the day passes without any event. When you just start feeling yourself to get hungry, the table magically fills with food 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Towards the end of the night, the lights start to dim. The bedrolls appear, and you're able to rest without issue.
Go
ahead.
ahead, sir.
No, you're fine.
I was gonna ask them if we should do like a turn watch order, since Vortar has Cortan's sword.
Might not be bad, though. Cortan will not be able to easily take it from where Cortan will not easily be able to take it from where Vortar is going to place it.
Ew. Worth.
Without waking him.
Worth.
Radai would like tilt his head and be like, I could take care of it if you want. I could keep it really safe.
It is true that this Fae knows much of the ways of the book magic. A magician, indeed. But Vortar is loath to trust one of his kind. What say you, beloved?
If we want to do watches, I mean, if you feel that you can wake, if he comes by, then we can all sleep. But if we want to do turn order watch, we can.
Well, you won't have to watch it if I had it. All of us could sleep.
If you had it, all of us could sleep.
Uh-huh.
Will we get it back?
I mean, I would like to keep it, but I'll give it back if you really, really need it.
Oh, we're gonna really need it back, yeah.
There's a part of Vortar, beloved, that believes that perhaps Cortan could possess the Fae over the Embrument. Or maybe the dickhead over there will possess the child because he will appreciate the perverseness of it instead of our friend Cortan. But I feel that it is probably best that we do not involve the child in these matters any more than we are used.
Then you can keep it, Vortar, if you feel safer with it.
Cortan is my friend. Cortan is your friend. Cortan is a friend of the jihadist, and Cortan is friend to Silva. But this Fae knows only the lust for vegetables and gold.
I like vegetables.
Test for Vortar.
But if you feel that you would rather keep your friend close,
Yes,
then
Vortar shall safeguard Cortan.
that's fine.
I think if real Corton would know what the hell's going on, I think he would really appreciate Vortar right now.
That's fine.
I will take precautions.
I will not ask what those precautions are.
They may
Does any... Yeah. I don't know if that's allowed on Twitch.
I mean, if we're gonna go that way, someone said something on Twitch one day that he still got away with, but we're not going there.
So does anybody want to do anything during the night? Not that drama.
Don't you worry, that happens. It's assumed.
Dear God.
Yes, he does brush his hair a lot.
Oh, okay.
How do you expect it to be so lustrous and shiny in the
I
morning?
know. Reverts.
I just imagine like when Drama goes to bed, he like puts it in like a man bun and then puts on like a hairnet.
Avalia
Pickled
doesn't-
eyes.
Avalia doesn't warm. It's part of their bonding.
Puts some pickles in his eyes, puts on a mask. Don't touch me, I sleep now.
Seeing I only sleep 4 hours, so it's more of a trance than an actual full sleeping, I'm gonna take some of the time where they're all still asleep to adjust some of my spells that I have prepared.
Sure. Anybody else?
Nope, nothing I don't think I'll succeed in. I'll have to take like 10 minutes to take off the armor. Walk over, do a sleight of hand roll. No.
Besides taking off that armor, you're gonna wake everybody.
It's true.
Are you going to try?
No. So I kind of have a couple ideas that I want to throw by you later. We can probably do after.
Okay. So as you wake up, something that you didn't notice had been occurring is you feel the lack of movement, and as you look out the door and out the windows, you see the edge of a forest, and off in the distance, a small hamlet of a village.
Oh, land. Trees.
Uh-oh, Hugh's gonna make Mortar nervous. Don't forget, I've been waiting for this.
It's not sentient, is it?
Oh yeah, it is.
It
Well,
is? Oh,
it makes him nervous around Forest.
Oh, that's right.
More nervous
Yes.
than he already is.
Oh right, the hue. I remember that now.
Forgot about that.
The Vortar's always sort of nervous in forests, because the trees and the vegetation are the allies of fate.
Vortar, look! Look out the door! We can see land!
Yes, there is a blessed lack of poreless caves and underdark lakes and Negro Fae around every corner riding their accursed spiders come to get us.
Yes, that's definitely a positive. Right side.
I shall be happy to eat the real chicken. Fuck that chicken of the Underdark.
Chicken of the Underdark.
So are we like on the land, or are we just, can you see it?
No, you've the tower is now resting on the ground.
Wow.
Oh!
Door to door, alright.
Did you want breakfast first, Vortar?
Yes. Or to recklessly run outside.
Yeah, as you run out, you see a very familiar sight. You have landed on the outskirts of Fandalen.
Beloved, it is Vanderallen, our quaint, charming, and beloved city that is tragically horrorless, yet still appears mostly in one piece. Come, Sildar, look!
Wonderful.
He says, it is good to be home. Let us investigate and see how the townsfolk have made it these last few months.
Yes.
I am.
I guess Mortar would shout a long and poetic and giant fucking thank you to Pharaohs.
He says, as you depart, he walks to the door and he says, farewell, my friends. Who knows, maybe I will see you again before I part this plane of existence. And then he walks into his tower, and you see it lift off the ground, and clouds start to form under it, and begin to ascend into the sky.
That was gross.
That is a serious giant.
Rodai would kind of like rock on his heels and be like, that's actually kind of his sense of humor. I don't really understand it, but he's always been like that.
Inscrutable.
And as soon as Sildar gets out of the tower, he begins walking towards the town center.
Yeah, we're gonna go with Sildar too.
Rodai would kind of like scuff his feet on the ground as he's kind of been in a sky castle for probably a couple months now. Training with Ghost Cloud guy.
It's a few months. Shit, zoom back in.
I have to zoom back out, like so damn close in.
Yeah, I did do that too. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm way fucking over. It's a Vanderon is bigger than I remembered.
Oh yeah, I did too. 60.
Yeah, so as you look around, many of the buildings that were damaged by the drow attack have been mostly repaired. You can see where there's new wood on some of the houses. Some of the roofs have been partially replaced with new, with new roofing materials. And the city seems to be mostly in working condition. It does seem a little hectic. As though something is going on or whatnot. And as you make it to the town square, you see Toblin. You'll remember him as the innkeeper, and Darren Edermath. This is the... Why did it do that? Well, that's shitty. It didn't transfer over tokens. That's a huge
big lady. She's a big lady.
That's a huge bitch.
Is that a Norn?
And they seem to talking adamantly, and then as Sildar sees them, he approaches them, and they just stop mid-conversation and look up to him and say, you live. And he says, he kind of chuckles, and he says, he turns to Toblin and says, "You can't get rid of me that easily, old boy." And they kind of clap each other on the shoulder, and he says, "We must talk. The town leader abandoned us after your escape, and we've barely been able to keep it together. We would like you to see to the goings-on of the city, to try and bring some kind of order to our little town." And he says, "Yes, of course." And they kind of walk off into the building that you remember was the Town Master Hall.
Yes! Rejoice, Akelings! Know that Fortar of the Three Fist clan, in company with the beloved of Ashanka and her man-maiden, and this urchin Faye, have returned to bring Sildar back to you. Know also that we have journeyed deep into the Underdark, and we have laid vengeance upon the Negro Fae who did visit so much pain, woe, devastation, and general shittiness upon this our beloved town.
You note that while Vortar's going off on his, Vortaring, Redi's in the center of this town square, just spinning in circles until he gets too dizzy and falls on his ass.
Roll for puke.
At the other side of town, you see two dwarves that look familiar, none other than Gundren and Nundro, the Rockseeker brothers. And they seem to be animately arguing with each other.
Alright. I'm gonna walk over by the beloved and stand there and kind of try to pay attention to them, and I'll be like, Gundren!
Oi! You fat red orc, you made it out, did you?
We did. We escaped the Underdark and brought Sildar back. I see you have your brother here.
I can't seem to get rid of him after the issues in the soul caves. He just won't leave me alone.
Would that Vortar had such luck with whores.
Gundren just kind of chuckles and he says, "Oi, you should come to our hometown sometime. The dwarven lasses, they know how to, you know."
Sturdy.
Probably
You know how they're sturdy.
gonna put her hand on her forehead and shake her head and just look around.
Very good. Well, Vortar is very much like chicken. Does not come from tentacle. And so he would like to go to grab something to eat and have the Gundren and homeboy tell us, his brother tell us fucking what the fuck happened while we were gone. Then we can catch up with Sildar later.
Sure. So yeah, they take you over to Toblin's Inn, and there are townsfolk in there. It's morning, so they're getting their morning meal for those that don't make it themselves. Toblin's wife and 2 children are tending to the tables, and Gundren and Nundro walk in behind, arguing with each other about something in Dwarvish, and then Gundren walks over and he grabs your hand in that kind of that soldier arm shake where they grasp at the forearms, and he says, "It's good to see you, big one."
It is good to be seen in the light.
And he kind of chuckles and he says, "I should have known those dark ills couldn't have stopped you from coming back."
No, the Negro Fae paid a terrible price for their crimes against Vortar and the town of Vanderallen.
Good to hear.
And Vortar managed to poop upon the elven lands on the way here when he rode the castle.
Then he got turned into a cat.
Let's not talk about that.
Meow. Meow, 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 meow.
Stop it right now.
Right meow.
Yes, so Gundren kind of looks at you, kind of like trying to wrap his head around the things that were just kind of thrown at him, and he says, "Oh, it seems I'm glad I was here instead of with you then.
Yes, you are.
Good to see Sildar back. We need someone that can lead this group of humans. They don't listen to me or my brother."
Vortar leading conspiratorially. Let's say Vortar has done his best, and Sildar has promised that he shall set the town aright. However, he says still no more whores.
He kind of chuckles and he says, "Well, where's the fun in that if we've got a city with no whores, eh?"
Aye. Vortar agrees. But he has heard many dire tidings. From the giants. Zephyros we met. He said that there was a giant hero about.
I'm starting to think maybe you're bad luck.
No.
All we've had to deal with is rebuilding and, the occasional goblin or orc coming out of the forest, and now you're seeing giants.
Giants.
Muradin's beard. Go back to the Underdark, and he kind of chuckles.
No, that has Demogorgon. We're not going back to the Underdark.
Don't forget the spider bitch.
Hold on a second. So, and he kind of sits down and he says, "So you're telling me you went to the Underdark, fought Drow, somehow escaped Demogorgon. Then,
Yes,
when you say spider bitch, I'm assuming you mean Loth,
that one.
and you came back here.
Yes.
Why?"
This is the last place we called home.
A giant in the clouds told us to do it.
Yeah, he warned us that there may be a giant hero in the area that could be coming here. No, obviously you would know better.
Well, I've heard no sightings of giant heroes. There's rumors of heel giants that are acting strangely. Heard rumors that one giantess has wrangled the control of the heel giants and are having them do her bidding. But why would they come here?
I don't know. Votar has no knowing of these things. He only knows what he is told on this. For he has not been set foot in Vanderhout since that fateful night when the Negro Fae abducted us. However, he has no reason to doubt, as he has been told. All assembled have heard this as well, and the urchin Fae that accompanies us spent many months in the company of this wise giant that saved us and brought us back. He may know more than we, but we also have another pressing problem. Whilst we were gone, Cortan became a dick.
Wasn't he already sort of a dick already?
No. Grumpy, taciturn, perhaps
Prickly?
terse, prickish, but not a full-blown raging dick.
I mean, Vortar knows right now too. He's holding the sword.
And that, yes, and that is a major problem. For we must return Cortan to his old grumpy, yet taciturn and endearing ways, and we must seek a powerful shaman, a cleric of some god that can help us in these matters. And we would
Well.
appreciate any help you could give us.
Well, I'm no cleric,
No, obviously not.
but maybe the dwarves, the clerics in the how's it called? I think it's called Mirabar. There are clerics of Klingadin and Muradin that may be of assistance. I've never heard of. I've heard of someone being possessed, but from a sentient weapon. That's news to me.
Yes,
We're all together, right?
I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
And so Cortan's just sitting there listening to them talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, the
yeah,
equivalent
fine.
of plotting your death.
No shit, right?
Amalia is gonna lean against Drummond and whisper in his ear and ask what about the lady of the gauntlet that lives here?
Oh! That person's here!
Yeah, she went with Toblin and Sildar into the Townmaster's Hall.
Oh, that's her.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't even look like her at all. My bad.
Yeah, no, it didn't look.
Just said he could transfer the tokens over. Actually, yeah.
It's been a while.
Well, none of the tokens are the same as before, I don't think. Maybe Toblin.
So,
I don't even think we had one of Tobo.
no, yeah.
I don't think so.
I think it was just went into the inn and then just said he was there.
And he says, I could send you with a letter proving you friend to Dwarfkind. It's a long trek, but... And he kind of looks at Nundro and he says, sometimes you have to make a long trek for friends or family.
Yes. Vortar will make this trek. Should the beloved be willing. And we would appreciate your words on the pavement.
That is fine.
Now, enough of this dour news. Let's have a drink.
Ah, yes.
barkeep and fucking and then forget that all my money is in my boot, which Drummond has. Then I'll fucking go over and ask fucking Drummond to give me some money.
Isn't our food and our drinks free here?
Vortar's sketchy with accounting, so.
I think that was one of the things you received for saving the city.
And room and board.
And a stake in the mine.
Yep, room and board, food and drink were on the house, and we have a percentage in the mine.
All right. Well, if you don't tell him that, I'm still gonna give you money.
Vortar, we get free food and drinks. And
yes! The beloved is wise. Vortar will have ale for myself, my doubting companions, even Cortan the Dick. Something for the urchin and Gundren. Well, you know what they drink.
And Tolban's wife behind the counter, she says, it's too early to be yelling like that. Keep it down.
It is never too early to yell when one has gloriously returned to having survived the perils of the Underdark and rescued one's boon companion. Plus, Vortar got to poop upon the Fey Kingdom when he rode the magic castle.
And she just kind of shakes her head and starts pouring drinks. Like a minute later, her and her children come around, bringing a round of drinks to everybody. What does Radai ask for as far as a drink?
chocolate milk.
Chocolate milk. Oh no, Frugy.
Okay, according to my roommate, I have to ask for chocolate milk, so I guess...
I even said it!
Well, no, it's because we have the convenience store right next to the house, and like he'll go over there and be like, "Hey, you want a beer?" And he'll go over there and he'll get, a porter or something. And then when I go over there, I'm like, "I'm getting chocolate milk." He's like, "You're such a fucking child." I'm a grown-ass man that can drink chocolate milk when he wants to, Dean.
Alright, so somehow she comes up with chocolate milk. It's not what we would think of chocolate milk. It's more like milk with like just raw cocoa powder. Not all sugary and sweet like we're used to. And brings them around. And she says, "You've just missed breakfast, but later we'll have food for lunch if you're hungry."
Yes! Vortar will have his lunch, and none shall gainsay him.
That's fine. I'm sure there's things that we can do around town, too.
As the beloved wisdom. There are things we can do around town!
Or you could stay here, Vortar, and drink.
Vortar will never leave the beloved side if there are these things that are important to do.
You could finish your drink. We're all drinking.
Vortar can drink and walk? If that's important to do, I'll do it.
I just see that as like the mind blown gif. Like it never occurred to him to do both. He always had to decide whether to drink or walk.
Better not to risk it. I'll just finish it.
All right.
So who would we talk about about the mine?
And yeah, the Rockseeker brothers did say,
Oh.
well, that would be us. And unfortunately, we don't have the greatest news. Not that there's nothing, but we did have to rebuild the town, and we had to restart the mining procedures. So if you give me a day or so, I can, make good on the promise you were offered.
That's more than fine. However, I was curious, did we want a keep, you guys?
A what?
A keep, a place of our own instead of sleeping in the inn?
What's wrong with these?
Somewhere within that sword, you could just hear him say, "Cragmaw Castle."
I'm sure we'd have to go clear that out
I know.
all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're level 7 now and not 3, so you just walk in there and mop the place.
Probably go there by
True.
myself. I'll just blast everybody to death.
Model boys.
All right, so who's playing Sims and modeling up your new dig?
We were gonna let that is completely an Amolian job.
No, all right.
I kind of like the concept of conquering a castle, but
Conquering a castle. Yeah, we conquered one early on. It's before you joined the crew.
Mm-hmm. Where Aldic died the first time.
That's right. That's where Croce just died.
It is.
Oh, memories.
More like where Crozius committed suicide, but
Suicide.
Pretty much.
basically he did the D&D version of suicide by police officer.
But I love it too, though. The reaction you had was, I've never one hit somebody to death. What did happen? Like the bugbear crit?
He crit on an opportunity attack and literally took
He
him
didn't. Say,
to
yeah, he didn't. Say.
negative hit points. Or negative his maximum hit points. One hit, boom, instant dead. Not even death saves. And then he took away my fun because he said he did it on purpose, bastard. But I think that is where we're going to call it for tonight. I'm still, trying to recover from a 3-day migraine and don't want to push it too much.
Yeah, that's cool.
And
John is tired and fucking.
I'm so fucking sleepy, man. Oh my god. I didn't want to miss tonight, so.
oh, it's all good, man. So unless something happens, next Wednesday we'll pick up here in Toblin's Inn/Tavern and move on from there.
Excellent.
Awesome.
All right, yep. Thanks for
So-
coming out and playing.
Yeah. Thanks for hosting.
Yeah, that was good. A lot of good shit happened this time. I got to
Mhm.
poop off a fucking flying magic castle over the hill.
You got turned into a kitty cat.
And turned into a fucking. We're not gonna talk about it.